Hear, Oh Yashar'Al, the great I am, the great spirit, is the only power for you. The great I am, the great spirit is one. Speak peace on this day of rest. Rise, Oh Yashar'Al. Welcome to Word War 3. Our reference today will be Psalms 148. And this message is entitled, Under the Earth Dome of My Forefathers. Now, before we begin, I want to remind our visitors this is an Indigenous Hebrew Israelite Awakening. This is not peer-reviewed material at a university or college. Everything you experience here does not belong to the foundation of privilege or racism. Indigenous Hebrew Israelite Awakening is not a racist hate group. We simply live here. Now, 3 words to consider: sun, moon, and stars. The sun in Hebrew, we'll look at Strong Concordance 8121. The word Shamash, and the characters of that word is secured, which is a tent peg, the symbol for water, and the symbol for secured again. So sun, Shamash, meaning it is secured in water and it's secured. The Hebrew word for moon, Hebrews, which is in Strong's Concordance 3394, Yaraahk, and the characters, which is an arm for working, and the resh for head, which is or first or for the beginning, and it's a wall or divide. And here we have the yin yang principle, also used as for the lunar calendar, because it's, the beginning. And then the word for star, again in Strong's Concordance 3556, Kokab. And the characters is to allow or open palm, and it's used twice, so Kokab. And then the final character is under a tent. So you have stars that are under a tent. That's the meaning of meaning of those Hebrew words. Now, the writing De Kaleo et Mundo, or On the Heavens of the World, written in 550 BC by Aristotle, the Greek philosopher of Western philosophy. He was later tutor to Alexander the Macedonian, who conquered the ancient world. Now, this Alexander the Macedonian, in the holy scriptures of my forefathers, called the Macedonians Edomites. His source material for the sun, moon, and stars, again, De Caelo et Mundo, or On the Heavens of the World, by Aristotle. His material is not from my forefathers, so I'm not going to recognize this spherical earth that he participated in or he taught. The Almagest, which is a Hellenistic form, and it came from Alexandria, Egypt, which Ptolemy taught to the world. Again, the spherical heavens on a motionless spherical earth. So here he differentiates from Aristotle's decree. Now, it's saying it's a spherical heavens. They're looking at the heavens saying, yes, everything looks like circles on a spherical earth, but it's motionless. It's not moving or anything. Again, here, lies the confusion of a people who are looking at somebody else's documents and saying, okay, well, this is what we think about it. Martin Behaim, and he lived from 1459 to 1537 during the times of slavery. He was the advisor to the Portuguese king who enslaved my forebears and kicked them out of Spain. He created the Baham terrestrial globe, or the sphere Earth model, which is the globe, the Earth model that you see in schools today. And since he is not teaching based upon my forefathers, I throw his material out the window as well. Professor Orlando Ferguson, well, he claims himself as a professor in his writings. He lived from 1846, during American slavery, to 1911. In 1893, he wanted you to know the earth looks like a flat roulette table, or an inverse toroid, which is, and his source was the Bible of my ancestors, or the translated version. John George Abizaid, and his book, The Enlightenment of the World, was published in 1912. And I'm going to read a quote. "No one, as long as no one has ever seen or felt the earth turn, need believe that it does." And again, his source was the translated Bible of my ancestors. These are two references here that you can Google or see. Now, these works are not being put in the education system because their foundation is based upon the translated words of my forefathers. So since their work is based on the Holy Scriptures, their work is pushed out. Now, on a final note, the reason I'm mentioning these things is acoustic sound, or acoustics, sound, or ultrasonic waves can be used to move objects through space. Before the Greeks, now known today as Edomites, based upon the scriptures, before the Greeks taught the world of a spherical earth, all the ancients worldwide taught their own people the earth was flat and motionless. Even today, Edomite children and Western philosophy continue to use peer-reviewed material based upon their ancient ancestors to teach the world their type of compartmentalized science. Now, Mr. Wolfgang, in the attached Harvard lecture I'll put in the link here, is showing you how a glass dome above his project is needed for ultrasonic levitation. Please look at that video. Something the ancient Egyptians created inside the big tuning forks you call the pyramids at Giza. These are big tuning forks. Now, this science, what he's doing is he's showing you that he can levitate things based upon the sound that's in between the object and a piece of glass above it. This is what the ancients taught. Please believe that what the ancients taught is what we derive our information from. You're not going to get anywhere without knowing what happened before and finally tuning it for later. Here today we have Mr. Wolfgang teaching us. You can go to the links, and I'll put some links in there so you guys can see these things for yourself. See with your own eyes for yourselves. And again, the ancients knew the earth was flat with a glass dome stretched above it. Waves must bounce off of something, like in order for things to levitate and move, you got these things are moving it. Those magnetic energies, sort of say, are moving it, pushing it. There's a negative and positive. And that's what the earth, moon, and stars are doing inside a glass dome. Now, the ancient Hebrew word for sun, Shamash, actually signified being contained in water. Let that sink in. And again, I'm I'm here to allow my people to wake up from the madness of philosophers who turned into scientists, or scientists who are using philosophy to actually define what they're seeing, when you can experience these things yourselves. I want my people to wake up from the madness of NASA, who says, okay, well, they visited outer space and they send us pictures of computer generated images, CGI images, saying, oh, okay, well, this is what Pluto looks like, and this is what these things look like, and nobody has been there for themselves. Nobody has seen with their own eyes Pluto and, these outer reaches of space that they're telling us that they've seen, when our own ancestors specifically tell us that there's a glass dome up there, and they physically showing us with pyramids in Africa, showing how, showing us that it's a tuning fork and it's connected with the sun, moon and stars. It's connected. This is what our ancestors are showing us. And for you Egyptologists and you Kemetic folks out there, our scriptures tell us that the Hebrews showed you Egyptians. You know, even Josephus said that Abraham taught the Egyptians mathematics and sciences. So we don't have to even discuss that there. So it's our Hebrew ancestors who showed the world these things. And you got pyramids all over the world. Okay? So with all this being said, I am a Hebrew Israelite. I am a documented conscientious objector. Hebrew Israelite out.